southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I ought to slow down, standing in the pouring rain.
What's going on, guys? Tristan and Tony here with the One Hell of a Life Outdoor Podcast.
That's damn right. His dad is here. Let's go.
Yep. So today we got on Hunter Walton, one of the founding owners of Canvasback Waterfowl. I'm sure you guys have heard of them through social media and stuff. They, have the full body wader. It's a very unique product, and we're excited that Hunter's got some time to share some of that stuff on the podcast tonight. Thanks for coming on, Hunter.
Absolutely, guys. I really appreciate it. Love y'all's work. Just pumped to get to jump on the podcast.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to have some fun because what have I always said? Nothing happens until somebody gets excited. Let's go. Let's go.
I love it. Heck yeah.
Yep. So Hunter,
I just got chills.
It's not what you do when you get knocked down. It's what you do to get back up.
this is turned into a motivational video.
That's right. Let's go. Because we're here to talk about a damn good product.
But anyway, Hunter, kind of give everyone, a background and just, who you are and what you do, maybe before you got into all this with Canvasback and all that. And yeah.
Of course, yeah. Like they said, I'm Hunter Walton. I've been a lifelong waterfowler. My father's from East Texas and grew up hunting all the different dam bees and Port Arthur and from the coast all the way up to the Red River. And he started bringing me along when I was a little kid. And the obsession started at an early age. Back when everything was either live rubber or neoprene waders or something like that. And, when you're 12 or 13, back in the middle of the 90s, man, you were packed solid. You could barely move and hold your shotgun with all the layers and neoprene you had on. So we've been at this game for a while. I feel like the passion became my own when I went off to college and, my sophomore year, I'm an Aggie, so I'm just going to throw that out there.
Nice.
I went to Texas A&M. It's a very polarizing school. I love my school, but I understand why people think we're weird. So, we can have that in common.
Well, you did have Johnny football, right?
Man, old Jonathan. Yeah, he was. We still think of him very fondly, regardless of what has happened. But he might be a knucklehead, but he's our knucklehead.
Right on.
That's right.
No, we love Johnny. But man, my sophomore year, I scrounged up some cash from working some internships and stuff, and bought a piece of junk flat bottom boat, and that became man. I became instantly the most popular guy in college because I had a boat, So
right. Yeah, exactly.
That was a lot of fun. Spent a lot of hours on the water. We hunted, a lot of the areas around us, and it started my passion for public land hunting. We were just a bunch of college kids trying to figure out how to kill some ducks.
Mm-hmm.
And man, over that time period, there's just too many stories to count where water depth or someone getting submerged or soaking wet or hunt enders just became a part of the story. And while you're in college, that it's funny and you laugh because, hey, tomorrow we're going to be right back out there. But as I got older, got married, got a job, it's like, oh man, my days out in the water are limited, and I don't want to waste them fiddling around, not being able to get to where the birds are at, and not, getting soaking wet and miserable on my hunts and stuff. And so that really kind of started the wheels turning about Canvasback and figuring out a way to be able to maximize your time out in the timber.
Sure. Yeah, no. And did you, so going back to kind of your background with school and stuff, obviously just the marketing behind your product and just the design and everything, which we can get into more of the origin story here in a second, but
sure.
Just seems everything's very well thought out. The quality is very good. So what's your background as far as like schooling and stuff, or like degree or anything like that?
Okay. So I'm an Aggie, and I'm about to tell you something else. people aren't going to like this, but I'm an attorney as well. Dude, yeah, I got a double whammy going against me. No, so
You might be the first attorney I've ever liked.
Yeah, there's a reason why I'm doing this business now, and I'm not practicing anymore because there wasn't a lot that I liked either. But
sure.
Praise God.
no, that's right. Praise God. No, I was an economics and political science major at A&M, and then went to law school and practiced for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, one of my best friends in the whole world, he's partners with me in this whole venture. He was also Aggie, attorney, everything, and we were hunting buddies all through college, growing up, even after college. And we actually had our first law job together, and that's really where we started. We spent a lot more time on Canvasback than we did working our cases, that's for sure. So we were running back and forth to each other's offices. What if we did this? And wouldn't this be cool? And really, us bouncing ideas off each other kind of birthed the idea for Canvasback.
So I guess, if you were going to start just from the very beginning, like what year were you guys starting to think about this, and kind of just walk us through the creation of this thing?
It has been years in the making.
Wow.
Granted, it was a lot of time us just, daydreaming and pontificating about what the future might look like, but we never imagined it actually coming to fruition or anything like that. But there was one hunt in particular that was, we all always kind of, fondly or not so fondly recollect it as our origin story. But Chad and I grabbed my brother and a couple other guys, and there's a WMA that's just south of where we work. It's about 2.5 hours away from where we are. It's called Big Lake Bottom, and it's a solid public land hunt. But at the time, the regulations may have changed recent years, but at the time, there's no motors allowed on that lake. It was all walk-in hunters. And so, I mean, you're marsh walking for miles trying to find your spot. If you haven't been there, it's a tricky place to get a handle of. But we hunted several times, and we walked out there. It was towards the end of the season, and we're based out of Texas. And so, we really only get a few cold days out of the year, real cold days. We hunt in 30s and 20s degrees, but this was like a 8 to 10 degree day. Ice is forming everywhere. We're busting ice, walking out to the hole, yada, yada. And so, we spent time scouting. We found a spot. We walked all the way out there, probably a couple miles to the hole. And we're on the X, man. First light's coming up. We got Woody's buzzing the decoys. We're pumped. We're fired up. A first group of Woodies comes in through first light. Bam, bam, bam. Drop a couple. Chad walks out into the middle of the hole, grabs a pair, and just as he's grabbing the birds, he's starting to walk back to his spot, and this whole wad of teal is swinging over the top of the trees. And, we still have teal late in the season in Texas.
Same with Florida.
So we're all, yeah, there you go. Yeah. And so we're yelling at him, get out of the hole, get out of the hole. And so he's trying to get out fast, and he catches an underwater log and does a full-on Olympic-style nosedive just straight into the water. I mean, full submersion, head underwater, soaking wet. I mean, comes up and he is fuming. And my brother has the audacity to say, "Oh, dude, are you okay?" And he goes, "No, I'm not okay." I'm like, "No."
Hey, let me ask you, how old were you?
We were about 23.
Okay,
24.
I was going to say it was 20 something.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because
for sure.
as you said off the air, you get a little bit older, and those things aren't quite as funny, and there's a little bit more danger involved. So yeah,
exactly.
No, but keep going. I'm sorry.
On an 8 to 10 degree day, you said
8 to 10 degrees.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, 8 to 10 degrees. We're busting ice the whole way
That's
out.
stinging cold.
Oh, it's brutal. And so Chad tries to tough it out for another hour or so. And he finally says, "Guys, dude, I think hypothermia is setting in. I'm walking back to the truck." And so, we finished up the hunt, had a decent hunt for the end of the season. But on that drive back, he was just miserable and pissed off. And soaking wet in the truck cab, we just started talking, dude, there's gotta be something that, keeps water from going all the way down to your toes in an event like that.
Yeah.
And that's really where the wheels started turning was that kind of where, we'd always kind of joked about stuff in the past, but that was really where we got serious about, okay, look, we got to figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Man.
And from that point on, to be honest, we were talking about, well, maybe like a kayak skirt type of thing built into the top of a wader, or, who knows? We had no idea that it was going to morph into the full body wader.
That's awesome. Isn't that cool how, you just take something that is situation driven and you bring it to fruition. Do you want coffee that doesn't suck? Get the Duck. Dirty Duck coffee is made specifically for the waterfowl enthusiast. Enjoy flavors like Morning Wood, Dark Dynasty, Cinnamon Teal Snickerdoodle, and First Flight to unlock the flavor that you'll enjoy in the blind for years to come. Our friends at Dirty Duck Coffee Company are now offering all Zero Duck 30 followers a 15% discount when you use code ZeroDuck15 on your next order. And I don't want to cut your story because obviously we want to hear more, where it went from here. But I can so relate to that. And if you're listening and you've hunted out there in that cold weather and you've taken a dip, bro, you can definitely relate. And Tristan was there, dude. It was a life and death situation for a moment. I mean, I went in 38-degree water.
Yeah.
And that's cold water, bro. I mean, if you've been like, oh, well, I go down to the spring and it's 56 degrees, bro. Let me tell you something. You want to talk about losing your genitals real quick, man? I'm telling you, that's the easiest, the softest way I could put it. But it's like nothing else. And it really gives you dead respect to like watching Bear Grylls jump into frozen ice or something. And it took my breath away. And, the last thing I wanted to do was leave the hunt.
Yeah, I was thinking that was the end of it.
My son's here. It's our first trip to Arkansas ever. And, thank God, a good buddy of ours, Davey, shout out to Davey, he had those electric hand warmers.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is how psychotic I am. I would take everything off in the boat, watching everything freeze on my body. Like my actual like base layer was turning to ice while my waders were off, and I would put the foot warmers inside my waders and get them hot, and then put my waders back on and go out there for 20 more minutes.
Yeah.
And then get back in the boat, and then I got to where I started to like slur my words, and I mean it was an issue. So anyway, continue please, because I have dead respect for this from a definite like
real world experience.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, from there it just became we were both married and started having kids, and it became this kind of idea like, hey, what if we can find the right materials and make it work. And to be honest, when we started to where we are now, the quality and the technology that's been put into these, polyesters and nylons with multiple layers and all this stuff, it's come a very, very long way. That's really made our product possible, honestly. Because, if you are sitting in, some of those early days, some of the early prototypes that we had were just absolute hot boxes. I mean, even when it's cold, you're sweating your tail off. And the breathable fabrics that have come out in the last 3 to 4 years, and finding the right suppliers and manufacturers has just been a total key to kind of the success of our actual model. And that's what's been a huge game changer. So
I can imagine the hours and hours and hours that y'all had to put into just creating the relationships and stuff. I mean, it's a lot of work.
We kissed a lot of frogs for sure. And, we had a lot of relationships that we thought were going to be long-term that we found out very quickly. Nope, we're going to have to pivot here. But, if there's something that you're passionate about, and you can see that vision, it's kind of hard to stop it,
Yeah.
and me and my partner, we had kind of tunnel vision, and we're like, no, I really think that there's something here. I think there's something we can add to the outdoor industry. And plus we're just, we were super excited about the possibility about entering that whole world. And it just kept us going for a long time.
Yeah, no, I think it's I just think it's amazing from a standpoint of just hearing your background as attorneys and stuff, and then because so many people are kind of paralyzed by whatever they're doing, like the comfort of what they're doing, to leave out and take a chance and do something, take a chance on a business, and I just think that's just super. I don't know, it's admirable. It's cool. It's cool.
Well, we started out, and we'll have to give total props to our wives, but we started out, we were like, okay, 3 nights a week, we're going to call each other at 8:00
mm-hmm.
and we're going to brainstorm. We're going to figure this whole thing out. We're going to kind of, what's the next steps here? And man, we burned the midnight oil for a long time before we figured everything out. So we were, if Chad's still working in the law world, so I won't throw him under the bus too much, but we spent a lot of many hours that may or may not have affected the quality of our work here every once in a while, but sleep deprivation became our friend. We'll just call it that way.
Yeah, no, I can't. Well, honestly, I can't imagine what y'all are doing going into that, but I can just, from our perspective, like, I just got married back last November, and
congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate it, and just the stuff that we do with the podcast and the video and all the other things we got going on, and it's, I mean, honestly, in scale, it's not, I'm not trying to compare it to what y'all do, but I can just see from that perspective, you got to balance things, Yep. And so,
that's what it took us a couple, about 12 months to really, get things going. And then, that time frame was, we had started the whole thing about a year before COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had started prototyping and everything. And then COVID hit and the world just kind of ground to a halt.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, man, what a great time to start our business and all this stuff. But looking back, to be honest, we put a pause. We were going to release everything in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And the COVID delays actually allowed us to find the fabrics that we're working with now that are just insane quality. It gave us an extra 12 months, and now we're so proud of the product that's out there. It rivals anything that's on the market, and really it was all just kind of in the Lord's timing, really, because if we would have pushed our initial product out there, knowing what we do know now, I feel like I've become an expert on fabrics and material and waterproof testing and breathability ratings and tensile strength and all this stuff. Man, like our product is just it's a Cadillac model for sure.
That's a great kind of, I don't know, testimony to kind of how we think sometimes that we know it all, but really at the end of the day, God knows it all.
Yep.
Yep. Amen.
Yep. No doubt about that, man.
Yeah, no, that's
for
awesome.
sure.
So
for sure.
So that's kind of the origin of the whole story and stuff, and you were kind of going into, how you guys have done all these different testing and all these materials and stuff. And you can tell when you go on your website and you look at the product and you see all these little pointers off the product of like the different, values this provides
the
and
features.
You can T-zip handles. Like I got the Dr. Duck Journey backpack last year. And the T-zip handles are freaking amazing. So I already knew from that, like,
that's a good design,
a high quality, good design. And, I guess, can you kind of go into some of the behind the scenes as far as like the, the design and stuff? I guess, when you guys were testing these products, like what did you guys have to do?
Yeah. Give us some real life stuff. You're out there and you're like, this sucks, that kind of stuff. Because man, that's what I'm always so intrigued by what people really had to do. And hey, we're the reality of hunting, right? Mm-hmm. Let's be the reality of canvasback waders.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
No, I'll tell you, the very first model that we brought out, it's just prototype. We didn't market it or anything like that. Weren't selling anything. We're like, let's just do a season of hunting in it. I want to see how it holds up. I want to see what the complaints are. Like, let's figure this whole thing out.
Mm-hmm.
And our very first model, we have 2 features on there that I'm very, very proud of because, you know, it was the number 1 and number 2 things that we had to figure out. So the first priority that we had was, I don't want to be bound up. I don't want to be restricted when I'm swinging my gun. I want to make sure I have full range of motion. And so we took care of that with our first prototype. You know, we built in arm gussets, you know, designed the shoulders in a way to where it would all fit and you could layer up underneath it and never be restricted. So we were good with that. Now, what we didn't think of, and at this time we were like, we need to maximize waterproofness. Let's not do any extra features, nothing like that. Let's just have, you know, a bare bones kind of, you know, full body suit, and you can layer on top of it if you want to put some hand warmers or something like that. But what I kept on finding myself doing was putting my hand up at my chest and trying to slide my hand into my hand warmer pockets, and we didn't have anything there. And so we added those Napoleon pockets, which, you know, are kind of like that, the high chest, kind of fleece lined pockets that are right behind our zipper pouches on the front. And man, that was a game changer. Just having a place to rest your hands, keep them warm, keep them out of the wind and the water and everything. That was a big add that we added to our later model. And that's just like, you know, that's a must have.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's
a must-have.
That's something that I've kind of found myself in different situations thinking about the same thing, especially if, you know, your waders that you're wearing are, you know, basically your pockets. Like sometimes some of the waders, like in previous waders I've worn, like the pockets are sitting in the water. So then your actual neoprene pockets are done. And then it's like, what do you do with your hands? And I hate wearing gloves because it makes my hands feel clunky. I'll tough it out into as cold as I can to not wear gloves, you know? And
Same.
It's nice to have like something on your chest, like with the, you know, like with us, it's like Frog Dogs jackets or whatever, but it's nice to have something like you said. That's a good point.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I love. And I mean, not that we're trying to talk about Frog Dogs tonight, but that's what I love about their Grand Refuge coats that we wear. Is even that when you got your waders on, you can put those coats on, and those pockets are right there, you know, above your waders. But anyway, we don't have to worry about that when you got a full body wader.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, go on.
Something that does distinguish us from all the other wader brands that are out there. All of the exterior zipper pockets. This is something else that we tested and we felt really strongly about. All of our exterior zipper pockets are fully waterproof zippers. So that TI zip, Master Seal center zip that you have that zips up the front, we have miniature versions of that on the chest pocket and on the hand warmer pockets. So you can zip those things up. You can feel totally confident that I can slide my phone in there. I can slide my wallet. I can put my hands in there, and they're going to stay dry the entire hunt. Wow. So you don't have to worry about, you know, a lot of the hand warming pockets on the outside of waders, they're either open or they have a water resistant zipper on it. And so if you do get up to kind of your chest level, you do have that stumble, trip, and fall, like your hand warmers get soaking wet and it kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
So we built in, those are fully waterproof zippers on all 4 of the exterior zipper pockets that really, you just maximizes the warmth and the waterproofness of the wader.
Well, and also, I'm just thinking out loud here, and I'm sure you guys have noticed this, but, you know, let's say you don't use those pockets. Throw your hand warmers in those spots and zip them. And, dude,
exactly.
Now you're toasty.
True.
You know, I mean, really.
No, we've done that. Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Very cool. Very cool.
So every single zipper on the wader is fully waterproof.
That's awesome. So what about, like, you know, you guys were going through this testing stuff. Is there anything that stands out to you that was like hilarious? It was funny. That's stupid. Anything that like a blooper? Can you give us a Canvasback Waterfowl blooper, please?
Sure. Well, I mean,
or you told your buddy that's a stupid
another
idea.
Feature. You know, we made this whole full body wader, and then the wrist cuffs. So in our production model, you can see that we have a neoprene wrist cuff that goes underneath the polyester that really does, you know, kind of put a tight seal around your wrist to not let water run down your waders. And we didn't have that on our earlier prototypes. And we found that, hey, when I'm grabbing the decoys or grabbing a bird that's diving underneath the water or anything like that, I pick up my arm and then water's running down my whole sleeve into the body of the wader anyways. So I'm kind of defeating the whole purpose of the full body wader because water's getting through my arm opening kind of thing. And so, yeah, those neoprene wrist cuffs were something that was a big add. But I will say, as a quote unquote blooper, if you will, at the time I didn't feel like it was, but looking back, it's hilarious. When we got our very first prototype in, I mean, this thing looked like a black trash bag of a wader.
Man.
It was a square box of black fabric, and it was just horrendous looking. But man, I jumped into those things and I was so stinking proud of them. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I was like, take a picture. Look at this. This is awesome.
Look, man, my new Halloween outfit.
Exactly. I look back at those pictures like, oh my gosh, that we have come a long way from that for sure. But,
that is so cool,
man. I was so proud of that thing.
You know, that's another thing that's awesome about just the profile. Like when you look at your waders, you know, just they look sharp. You know, not even because of the camo or the color or anything like that. They just the way they fit just look sharp. You know, they don't look like clunky and bulky and you know that kind of thing.
No, let's put it out there. You look like kind of a badass if you're walking through the water.
Yeah.
If you're walking like your pictures and stuff, dude, and you guys are just like walking through the water, I'm like, dude.
I think it was like the first announcement that you guys had the waders, right? Wasn't there a dude coming up out of the water?
Just standing out of the water, man.
Yeah, dude. I was like, that is sick, dude. That was so bad. And like Tristan said, though, to be able to achieve our partners at Huntwise are offering an exclusive discount for Zero Duck 30 followers. As an elite member, some of the features you'll immediately gain access to are Huntcast, Windcast, peak kill times, property lines, owner information and phone lookup, 250 map layers, unlimited offline maps, 3D maps, social media, and on top of it all, save up to 50% off some of the top hunting brands in the industry. Download and explore the #1 hunting tool set today and save 20% by using code DUCK30. Sleek looking, and I don't even necessarily mean sleek because I mean obviously you have so many sizes that fit such a variety of people, you know, and but to look good, just look good, you know, the product just looks good, and that's obviously through a lot of tough design and
I appreciate that. Yeah, you'd be surprised at how many iterations it takes to really make that work.
Yeah,
man, it's just I totally underestimated as a product developer, man. You know, when you're dealing with not only boot size but pant leg length and waist length, and you're really dealing with a lot of different measurements in this whole thing to make it to where one, it fits, you know, 99% of hunters out there. It's functional. It doesn't bind you up. It allows you to hunt like you used to, just with added coverage, but also still looks good. Man, that was quite a process.
Yeah, I'm curious to know, like, you know, because obviously most waders on the market, it's like, oh, you know, size 10 or whatever, and then you're basically left with cinching up a lot of stuff. And, you know, if you're a shorter guy or whatever, then you're kind of screwed if you got big feet, those kind of things. So, you know, how, like, when you go to order your waders online, like, how, like, I'm trying to think how I want to like phrase this question. Like when you order the shoe size and then you go to like ordering the body size, like is that a custom thing? Like how does that work?
Yes. And so to answer that question, Chad, my partner, and myself, we're both the opposite ends of the spectrum. So I'm 5'8", 150 pounds. And I wear size 8 or size 9 boots. So every time I get a size 9 wader, I am swimming in them. They're huge. You know, the opening on the top is massive. I feel like I'm standing in a trash bag. You know, it's super not functional for me. Now, Chad is about 210, 6'6", 6'5".
Wow.
So he has the exact opposite problem. You know, he's a size 11 or 10. And so when he jumps in his waders, they come up to his waist realistically. And he's like, what the heck? I didn't think I was buying hip waders.
Right.
But, and so one of the other things that we wanted to make sure is that we could fit every single body size with our waders. And so what we did on that is the openings for our boots, from our pants to where they narrow down to, and for every single one of our boots, we made custom boots with custom lasts that allows every boot size from size 6 all the way up to 14 fit with every upper size.
Wow.
So you can mix and match. When you jump on our website, you say, hey, I'm size double XL, but I need a size 10 boot. Like, we can throw that on there. Or size 8 boot. Like, we can throw that on there. Or, hey, man, I'm a large, but I need a size 14. We can match everybody's boot size with their upper size. So it's not generic sizing. You pick your upper size, you pick your boot size, and they're built specifically for you.
That's amazing, and in itself, just an innovation in the wader game in that one aspect.
Well, let me ask you this. So, my brain's spinning now, right? So, and I love to get into production and all that, so these kinds of things. So, are you guys, like, I'm thinking back to the fast food days, right? The old days where you would go and they knew the numbers of how many quarter pounders to put out. How many are y'all able to scale any of that, or do you truly are you like Steak and Shake and like make it when you order it?
Yeah, it's kind of both and, to be honest. So, if you follow along with us, we open our pre-sales. This year we opened it at the end of March. Mm-hmm. And so if you ordered like pretty much from March all the way up until a couple weeks from now, if you order your product, we will make it specifically for you. And then whatever's remaining on kind of our purchase order, we'll build it based on, what we've understood as the natural demand. So it's kind of, general SKUs for, the most common sizes and stuff. But that's the big bonus when you pre-sale or pre-order our waders. We're guaranteeing that your upper size and your boot size is going to be matched perfectly for you. So you don't have to worry about any generic sizing or anything like that. You're guaranteed to have the wader that fits you exactly how you like it to fit.
That's incredible. That really is. That, like Tristan said, that is such an innovation. Yeah,
because I saw, and obviously it's a little bit different when you're taking, a woman duck hunting, but I think this is on the outline as well. But my wife this year, we ran into a situation where, her foot size is really like, in a men's shoe. I mean, because, for example, like in Frog Talks waders, it's like youth or men, And I think there's a lot of companies that are, like that and stuff. So it's kind of the standard.
Because they're selling to the masses. I mean,
and with like the youth sizes, we had her trying on, like her foot would fit, but then she would go to like sit down and she couldn't like sit down comfortable, and it was just all
super tight and bunching up and
I feel like you have a pair of pants on backwards.
That's what she felt like. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that's another thing that we actually are just coming out with this year. Mm-hmm. Working with our suppliers and stuff, we've come out with a program, and y'all are stealing some of our thunder, because we've announced it on our email campaign, but we're really going to push it hard at Delta Waterfowl Expo.
Nice.
Here at the end of July.
Yeah, the 20.
But we're actually 28th through the 30th. Yep. Cool.
You heard it first here on the
You heard it first.
You're here on the One Hell of a Life podcast. You heard it first.
So our size smalls really fit women well. And I'm not saying that, like I said, I'm a small guy. I wear size small. I love the way it fits on me. Mm-hmm. But the size smalls fits women really well, and also fits kids kind of from the age of like 12 to 17-ish range. It fits them really well. But a lot of things that we had from parents, last year, being our first year, they're like, well, I don't want to spend this money on the waders and then grow out of their boot size, within a year, and I got to spend another $1,000 on a new pair of waders. So we have worked with our team, and we've come up with a program to where we can actually exchange boots. So if you have the same upper size, if you're 18 and under, if you're 18 and under, and you order a size 9 small or a 9 medium or whatever, and all of a sudden, Jerry Jr. hits a growth spurt and he needs a size 11, you can send them to us in the off season. We'll exchange that size 9 for a size 11. We'll pull them off the waders, put them back on with the right size for $100 change fee. That's it.
Wow.
And so you can have the full lifetime warranty. It still applies, but we're just changing out the boot sizes for you.
Get
That's
out of
incredible.
here.
That
No,
is
dude,
incredible.
I'm sitting here thinking, while you're talking, I go, it's kind of like one of those times where you're like, come on, lucky number 7. And you wait and it pops up. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I go, if he says that they are able to exchange them and change out the size, I'm
my
going to
gosh.
freak out.
I mean,
and you exactly said that, bro.
And
Heck yeah.
And think about it just from the cheapest waiter in the game, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's $100 or $70 or something. But if you're doing that every year for your kid, I
Right.
mean, then the cost is justified very easily with your guys' program, you know?
What a great
the
thing.
cost is justified, and honestly, you know what I tell people is, look, like, you can spend $300-$400 on, you know, middle of the road solid waders that'll get you through 1 or 2 seasons,
Mm-hmm.
or you can pony up, spend $1,000 on these waders, and you're going to guarantee these for 5 to 7 years, through the life of the wader at least. And you get to experience the high quality, super versatile, functional nature of a full body wader the whole time. So you get kind of best of both worlds through that process.
Wow. That's just...
Y'all are way smarter than me. This is good stuff, man. Wow. And this is why I love going down these rabbit holes, to learn more about these companies. And if y'all are listening right now, you're mind blown, because Tristan and I are sitting here looking across at each other going, what the F?
I know.
Dude.
That's the cool thing about, our side of things on the podcast side of things. It's just like, you get to talking, obviously we see from the outside looking in, you got a great product, but you get to talking with people like yourself, Hunter, and it's really just neat to hear the features and the insight and all that.
It's incredible. Totally incredible. So
I appreciate that.
I want to jump back to a couple things and let you, Hunter, kind of give us like if you were to say, hey, give us the 2-minute commercial on the features and benefits, like when you pull up that diagram that you guys have showing the features and benefits, can you just kind of go through give us a commercial and pop through that for a couple minutes, please?
Sure. No, I mean, I appreciate y'all giving us the platform to do this on. I mean, that's, it's very gracious of you guys, but,
absolutely. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. I talked about the neoprene wrist cuffs. I talked about the exterior zippers all being fully waterproof. One of the things that we really spend a lot of time on that we're really proud of is our fabrics.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I've learned a lot of in this process. And I feel like, I can consider myself somewhat of a quasi expert at this point. Of there is a massive variance when people say things are waterproof and then how they actually perform in the wild. So, there's a whole range, and there's a testing process that everything is kind of determined on, and you can legally market yourself as quote unquote waterproof with a very low waterproof rating.
Wow.
And so when I say that is that there's something called the water column test, and I'm probably getting way too technical into all this stuff, but
no, we love it, man.
It's important to understand what goes behind building out these waders and why they're worth the $1,000 spend.
Mm-hmm.
Is when you call something waterproof, you basically just have to be what in the water column test they call it 17,000 millimeters on the water column test. And this is an oversimplification of the process, but basically they take a beaker that's filled with water and they have it marked on millimeters, and they put it on top of a piece of fabric, and they apply a little bit of pressure to it, and they see how long it holds water before water starts seeping through the fabric.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you're a 17,000 water column test fabric, I mean, a lot of rain jackets out there, say they're 17, 20,000, whatever. I mean, if you go out in the rain, you stand out there for 30 minutes, you are going to be soaked to the bone.
Wow.
In a quote unquote waterproof rain jacket. And
Wow.
so there's a lot of fabrics that are out there that are in that 20 to 25,000 range. And that gets you about an hour to 2 hours of standing in the water, of being dry. And then after that hour or 2 hours, you're going to start noticing some seepage. You'll take off your waders and be like, man, I don't know why my legs are so damp, kind of thing.
Yeah.
To get beyond that, it requires a very expensive and high quality fabric to get beyond that 20 to 25,000 range. And so our fabrics are guaranteed at 30,000 water column tests, and they have tested beyond, all the way up to the 40s and 50,000 water column tests. So that means that you can stand in our waders for 4+ hours and expect to not experience any of that seepage, water leakage, or anything like that in a breathable fabric, which is very, very rare, and that puts you in the category of Gore-Tex and beyond kind of stuff. Wow. So I mean, you're at a very, very high quality fabric, and I know I'm spending a lot of time on these fabrics because I really think that's kind of our bread and butter, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Is we're the only wader company in the entire world right now that is sourcing our fabrics from Japan. Any other company you find is coming from, China, Taiwan, or whatever, but Japan has a specific fabric that not only has 30,000 water column tests approved, but it also has insane breathability and tensile strength ratings. So it's more expensive per yard, but it gives you that super waterproof rating, but also allows the wader to really breathe. So if you're hunting early season teal in Texas like we are, mm-hmm. you can wear a fishing shirt and swim trunks and jump out in these full body waders and not be sweating your tail off.
That's awesome.
But still have that great waterproof rating. So you're not getting wet, either way. So that's something that took us a while to figure out, took us a while to find the right supplier. But once we found them, we're like, man, we're never deviating from this quality. It's the best.
Wow. I really appreciate you taking the time to share that, because I mean, I know me and my dad especially are just, with the podcast and stuff, really appreciate deep dives and stuff like that. And, mm-hmm. Especially we'll get scientists on here and they start talking about all kinds of nerdy, freaking duck stuff, and we eat it all up. But that's kind of how I felt just listening to you talk about the, what you were saying with the, water column test. That's amazing stuff, man. Yeah. And it's funny because you brought up that example of you're like, well, why do I feel like I'm wet? And I never thought that. I thought I was just sweating, honestly.
Right.
Never would have thought that.
That's wild.
At the end of the day, with the breathable fabric, when you see these breathables, there is going to be some water transfer between the fabrics, mm-hmm. At some extent. It all depends on that water column test. At what rate is that water going to get through to you and your base layers, mm-hmm. really? And so, if you're going to be standing in timber for several hours, you don't want to have anything that's less than 30,000 water column tests. Yeah. That's because otherwise you're going to come out and you're going to be like, man, I'm soaking wet and I don't remember feeling a leak. And that's just the quality of the fabric, really, is what it is.
Wow. Yeah, I had no idea.
Again, like I said, being an attorney with no background in fabrics or textiles or fashion design or anything like that, man, I've learned a lot. I feel like I've learned a lot on all this stuff in the last several years, and so it's really interesting.
Well, what's a proven fact in manufacturing is that, and I think it was the Japanese or I think it was the Japanese that actually, or the Chinese that actually invented this, but it's basically taking people that have nothing to do with what that job is, mm-hmm. and assigning them to it, and they analyze it for a period of time, and they are able to see things differently than somebody that's fully submerged in the knowledge of that product. And that's really kind of what you guys have done. It's probably the best thing that could have happened is that you didn't know too much, because it made you have to analyze so many things.
Right. Us being outsiders at the jump was we were waterfowlers, true and true. And it was like, man, if it's not going to perform this way, we don't want to have anything to do with it. Even if that is, maybe industry standard, that's not going to be good enough for what we want our product to have. And so I think having that objective kind of perspective really helped us in designing and developing the product.
Awesome. Now, let me ask this, and this has been on my mind, is can water come through the neck area if you go completely under? And the point I'm making here is, can you completely submerge without water entry?
Now, yeah, so we're not a dry suit. We don't have a neoprene neck gate or anything like that. If you go fully, if you dive off the front of your boat, you're going to get some water in that top entry point. It's not waterproof seal at the neck. But what I tell a lot of people, and we don't really market this, and I probably shouldn't be sharing it on a podcast, but
Tristan,
in
edit.
reality, edit. In reality, these waders with the breathable fabrics and the qualities of the properties of the fabric actually allows you to kind of float realistically. People have sent us videos of them like backstroking in duck holes and like bobbing off the bottom of their pool, and I'm like, oh gosh, don't do that in the open ocean, please. But,
Right.
But the air trapped inside the suit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so what we also have is our belt that comes with the waders is an elastic nylon that if you wear it properly and it's cinched down properly, it should, and I've experienced it myself, if you have a full submersion event, the water with the elastic nylon belt, it will come in through the entry point. One, it's a much smaller entry point than your traditional waders.
Sure.
So less water gets in at a lot slower rate.
And the
But
first
with
thing you're
wearing
pulling
that
up is your head.
Wearing the wading belt keeps the water trapped on the top half of your body. So it doesn't get all the way down to your boots. It doesn't go all the way down to your pants. It keeps it on the top half. And so it keeps you dry, it keeps the water out, and allows you to stay buoyant in the event of a full submersion.
That's a great point. Now, if you wanted to order these waders for somebody you didn't like, does it come with a neck strap that you can tighten? To make it fully submergible, be like, take a belt and put it around that son of a bitch's neck.
I don't know. My attorney side is, I'm not sure I'm willing to worry about the liability that comes with the neck strap. But
give me a good FBI leader of the FBI deferral here, would you?
Yeah.
Why Ted Cruz has got you on the stand.
I don't know if that's in our future, but no, we do have some really cool stuff that we're cooking up by 2024. We are developing a full layering lineup from, polyester base layers, grid fleece hoodies, wader pants, puff vests, jackets, shell jackets, wading vests, the whole 9 yards. We're in the process of really coming up with a full-on system for the waterfowler that all works congruent with the waders. So it's all compatible with the waders, and I think it'll be a really cool, quote-unquote full-body system.
See, I think that's awesome that you brought that up, because one of the things I was thinking in my head, like just envisioning like different times hunting throughout my life. We're originally from Illinois, and it's really cold up there and stuff in the winter.
Oh yeah.
There's no matter what, there's almost like a learning phase on like how many layers you got to wear, when it's cold or when it's hot, both sides of things. So I would imagine kind of where I hear you going with this is like, a suggestion map basically for your users to be like, based on these temperatures, this is what you should probably wear,
Yep.
Is our system.
By 2024, you will have the full Canvasback layering system that will go with you from the 85 degrees in South Texas hunting the coast all the way up to the 0 to 2 degrees negative temperatures that you get hunting early season Canada, Alaska, sea duck hunting, whatever. And so we'll have a full system that's compatible with the waders that you can layer up, layer down as needed for whatever environment you're facing.
Wow.
Wow. Now, you know, this kind of leads right into this next question I have for you, Hunter, and that is this. When you've got a damn good product, talk about how damn good you guys' warranty is.
Thank you.
You mentioned it a little bit ago in conversation, but I want you to dive into that a little bit more in depth and also cover the legal parts of it.
Sure. You know, as a smaller company, our warranty means a lot to us, and we work really hard to get stuff back to our customers as fast as possible. I know a lot of our customers that bought them first year. You know, this is good information to share with the public. Like, we're in the process of developing our own in-house water testing and warranty repair system, so that it's here at our warehouse, that it takes no time at all. We'll be extremely quick with the turnaround and everything like that. In our first year, we utilized third-party contractors to kind of service the waders in the off season and during the season. And, you know, there's turnaround times, and you get behind queues and stuff like that. So we're really excited to announce that we're going to develop our own in-house warranty program, to where, you know, when you send a wader to us, it is us dealing with the return, repairs, and replacements here at our warehouse. And so,
hey, Hunter, can I pause you real quick just for 1 second? Because I just think you're making such an incredible point. We're friends with an outfitter that wears, you know, Sitka, and one of his things is that, you know, and I'm not trying to throw any shade at any companies, anything like that, but I just think it's such an incredible point, is, you know, they got the lifetime warranty, but the problem is, you know, during that duck season, he's like, I can't get my waders back during that duck season. So he found himself buying another pair of waders just so he has his waders during duck season, because he's got to work every day.
Yeah.
you know?
Yep. And so that is our goal. That's why we're developing it. You know, we developed our own water testing tanks. You know, we're working with proprietary glues and adhesives and all this stuff, and we're building out our own processing system here, so that you don't have that backlog that you're typically, you know, with your other waders that have the lifetime warranty. Sometimes it's like, hey, if I get a leak, that's great, I can get it back before next season. But in the interim, I'm kind of out of luck, kind of thing.
No. Great
and so,
point.
so our goal is to have it by the end of this season, or by the beginning of this season, to have a 10-day turnaround from when you have a warranty complaint. We're able to service or replace it within 10 days. And that's realistically as fast as you can get it in the industry, because there are just hard set times for the adhesives have to set, and there takes time to test them, then dry them out, and then make sure that everything is good to go. It takes, you know, 2-3 days to ship it here, 3 or 4 days to really identify the problem, solve the problem, and then send it back to the customer. So we're shooting for a 10-day turnaround, which to us, it's like, you know, if we can minimize it to where you may miss one single hunt, you know, I think that we're doing the best that we can with kind of the limitations that are, you know, just reality on dealing with, you know, waterproof fabrics and adhesives and things like that.
Well, I think it's a great thing that you guys are doing, because one thing I think that all of us waterfowlers will agree with, I guess all of us hunters, whatever we're passionate about and get into, is that we'll spend the money. Dude, we will. We will spend the money if you give us a great product. Yeah. We will. Yeah. We'll go broke doing it. I mean,
don't tell my wife that, but no, she knows.
I've always said, if I had to write a business plan to my wife on how I go about duck hunting, dude, there's no way I would ever make it.
Well, did you see there was like a meme going around social media a couple weeks ago about like something about like, I'm financially irresponsible, bro, or something like that. Like, oh, you must be rich because you duck hunt. No, I'm financially irresponsible, bro. Like, but yeah, it's funny.
I mean, to do what we do, if you really think about it, I mean, it takes some high quality stuff. I mean, you're dealing with not only, you know, temperatures, but then you add water to that, and then you add knee deep mud to that, and you add pitch black, cold, can't see where you're going, pushing through brush. I mean, you've got to have something that can really protect you while you're walking out in the elements. And that takes some doing,
Yeah. Well, or a boot that can hit an oyster shell and not slice open. I mean, that's something a lot of people don't think about. We deal with down in the coastal areas,
man,
and those sea duck hunters and stuff, man, you're dealing with that kind of stuff.
Dude.
But there's so much that can go into it, man. Dude, we have done such, I'm going to toot our horn a little bit. I think that we've kind of drawn Hunter into this whole big ass breakdown on these waders because, dude, this is awesome. I'm so excited right now about what we have learned so far.
Me too, man.
And the ability to help you guys out, promote a great product, and honest to God, we have no affiliation with Canvasback Waterfowl at all. They're just truly just a guest that we saw as a great product and great people and wanted to have them on and give them an opportunity to do that. But enough about the waders. Let's talk about killing ducks. All right. I want to talk about one of the things I love about having people on the podcast, man, is just to share some stories and get into it and dig into a little bit about some funny shit that's happened or stuff. But man, you talk a little bit about, how you got into duck hunting and all that kind of thing, talk about, help people learn a little bit more about you as a duck hunter.
Sure.
What's some of your strategies? What have you found success in? And, share some of those things, especially if you're a South Texas hunter,
and
give us some tips, dude.
So, I make a run down to South Texas every once in a while, once or twice a season, but I'm a North Texas, just south of the Red River guy.
Okay.
And so, we kind of share the same birds that the Oklahomans share, and as Texas gets more and more built up, we see our bird numbers decrease year after year after year. So you have to be really on your scouting game, and you got to maximize every opportunity you get when you're hunting these kind of Northeast Texas waters for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's become, in 2020, they said that we had our lowest duck numbers, our 50-year mark on lowest duck numbers. And then 2021 was the next 50-year low. And then last year they were like, well, it's a 49-year low.
Wow.
So, I mean,
golly,
we're struggling with duck numbers here in North Texas, but, the strategies that we've employed, man, the call makers are not going to like this, but I've noticed, and we've noticed over the years, it's something that I'm sure y'all have old timers in your mix as well. But my dad and grandfather that would take us duck hunting, they would always say, "Call a lot, shoot a little; call a little, shoot a lot." And if you got the right place, you got the right setup, you don't need to talk to the birds too much. And when you're screaming at them, constantly, you can flare birds just as easily as you were if you were staring up at them with your bald white face. So, having a soft call, that's a really good finisher has been, kind of game changing for us. I still use some of my, these are hand-me-down duck calls from Sure Shot down in Groves, Texas. I'm not sure if y'all heard about Sure Shot.
Mm-hmm.
This is we don't have any affiliation with them. They're a great brand. But they kind of patented the double reed years and years ago, back in the 70s or early 80s. And they got a wooden duck call that is a perfect finisher for birds coming in tight. You can talk to them real soft and quiet. And I've also heard, this goes along with the calling. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, when the birds are working, you got to shut up.
Mm-hmm.
And I would disagree.
Right.
I think maintaining that communication with the birds, now granted, not in a loud, obnoxious manner, but in soft clucks, little greeting clucks, 3 or 4 notes here and there, keeping them engaged and just kind of walking them all the way into your decoys. Man, that's how you finish birds in the decoys. You got to make them comfortable the whole way in. And it takes some doing it. You got to get comfortable with it. But honestly, if you're talking with them the whole time, there's no reason to quit it once they're starting their final descent. Because I've had plenty of birds that you work them in, you've seen them circling the treetops, or you're working an open body of water, and you're talking to them, they're coming, and then you just get silent all of a sudden, and they start 60, 70 yards out, they start climbing out of the hole.
Mm-hmm.
It's because that silence gets a little eerie on them, and I think when you finish them and talk to them real soft, you got a wooden call. Sometimes those are great for the finisher calls. Man, that'll get you feet down in the decoys type shots.
I think that's a great observation and tip that you shared, because I've never really thought about it from that perspective. I've thought when ducks like in timber, like they do that the 60, 70 yards, and I've kind of always attributed it to like maybe other groups, or something like that. Or,
As waterfowlers, we experience all kinds of extreme weather conditions. Stay bone dry and warm with Frog Togs hunting gear. You can check them out at frogtogs.com or at frogtogshunt on Instagram.
But it's I think I like to call like it my bag of tools kind of. It really started the background of deer hunting, but because we've if you don't know, Hunter, but people that listen to our podcast know we're originally big deer hunters from Illinois and stuff, and that's what we grew up doing. And I just like on that side of things and duck hunting more and more, it's like you build this bag of tricks, right? When you when things aren't working right, you try different things. And I never thought about it from that perspective of maybe because you're right, because when they get close, you have a tendency to you just start like a neck like a little feed call or something, you get like
real quiet. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a great point and good tip.
Well,
and when you think about it, when if you ever go out to your local park or resident birds or anything like that, you start listening to them. How many feed calls do you really hear?
Not many.
No, dude, and this is a great point, and I'm fortunate enough to live on a lake, and it's a small lake, and when I first moved in here, and I'm going to try to go as fast as I can with the story, but when I first moved in here 2 years ago, the people that sold us the house, we went and had dinner with them. They said, make sure you take care of Chip. And I go, who's Chip? And I'm like, does he live in the basement? Whatever. And they're like, it's a female duck that she's been coming up here. She's never had babies, and she's been here every year since we built this house 20 years ago.
Wow.
They first came up as a baby, and then they noticed when it was a baby that something happened to its bill. And right at the front of the bill, this hen had a big chip off of her beak. Anyway, I move in here, and sure as shit, here comes Chip. And I'm like, wow. And then the next year, here comes Chip again. Never any babies, but she was a sassy hen, dude. I could hear her out there, how, letting it happen.
Yep.
But here's where I'm going with all this. That duck, I didn't see her this year. So she had to be 22, 23 years old, which is going to blow people's minds. But I mean, I've got facts to back that up. I've got mallards that come to my lake. And call them park mallards, call them wherever you want. They're not mixed in crazy colors or nothing.
Yeah.
They're truly marked mallards, right?
Your resident birds.
Yeah. And they leave every year in between October and through the beginning of December, and I do not see them, bro. They're gone. I don't know where they go, but they don't like let you pet them or anything like that. But they definitely start to get a little closeness to me because I do things very delicate. I have a wooded spot up above the lake that they can chill at and all this stuff. Well, point is, I've spent so much time, and Tristan, we were talking about being psychos earlier. I am a true duck psycho, dude. They didn't even call me the duck.
The amount of times that you said
therapist
no, it's obsessive compulsive.
He sent me sound
psychoanalyst.
I send him sound files all the time.
Oh, did you hear this?
Did you hear this? Listen to how this hen does it versus this hen. Listen to the babies that have just now started. The babies right now are starting to figure out if they can even know how. And dude, the voices squeak like a 14-year-old kid. Dude, it's awesome. And so I listen to them. And one thing that our buddy Cade over at Delta Thunder Outfitters, is I've heard him call me, Tristan, so many people out that, you know, he will, if he lets you call in the blind, is he's like, dude, put that acrylic single reed, get that hail call, get it out of here. And he's got this wooden call. And so I've got several calls, and we've all, as duck hunters, you've been doing this long enough. You've had several calls, you've trimmed all your reeds, you've done all this crazy shit, try to mimic perfect your instrument, so to speak. And I keep going back to this one call, and I'm not going to go back to it, but I've got the couple $100 calls, and I keep going back to this $35 call that I have. And it's the softest call that I can do. So what I've been spending so much time trying to do this off season is replicate the tone I hear every night. Every night I sit with these ducks out here, dude, and I hear, and we're talking, I get anywhere from
huge.
20 to 60.
I think that's so huge.
Yeah,
yes.
I get 20 to 60. And like you were saying, when a duck makes what we call a feed call, y'all, they're not sitting there just going,
it's 5 or 6 notes.
Yeah, it is. And so many times, and so many times the hens are doing it in aggression. Tristan's witnessed this. They puff up their feathers, they get their head feathers going and stuff, and they go, da, 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 and they're like, get the hell away from my food, bro.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. And then the drakes are sitting there going, right. You know, not doing nothing.
Right.
You know, but the tone is the key point you make with that wooden call. And that's where I'm going with all this is, you know, Cade's granddaddy is I would call a local legend in waterfowl hunting. I've never seen so many bands in my life. And I haven't.
A 40-year waterfowl god.
Yeah, 40-year waterfowl god. That's what
God.
Love it.
And God.
And
love it.
No, but you know, old timer stuff, and he makes some of these calls out of bodock wood, you know, and which is a really priceless type of wood you can get.
Yep.
But it's the tone sound, and by damn, I'm getting me a wooden call this year. I am, because Cade only uses that wooden call, and he's just like all the time. He's just like, dude, shh. Get it, you know, and I'm thinking about in that pit blind. I mean, it's different if you're, depending on what kind of blind you're in, but definitely in a pit blind, if you're throwing an acrylic call, bro, it's so loud. It's way.
And I think that there's a place for the acrylic calls.
Yeah.
You know, there's a way to turn ducks. There's a way to get their attention.
Yep.
But if you've got a group working and you're trying to finish them, you got to be delicate with them.
Yeah.
You know, it's real easy to blow them out of a hole if you're talking too loud. And those wooden calls, they just, you know, they deaden the sound. They allow you to, you know, to talk to them kind of in closer to their native language, if you will. And I've seen that being a big difference. And granted, it's very different depending on what style you hunt. I totally understand why those timber hunters need to blow those single reeds and blast it, because you're trying to cut through, you know, trees, branches, leaves, all sorts of stuff just to get the birds to hear you. You know, and
not counting all the wind turbulence of a you know. Brad with Echo Calls talks about that in flight control. He talks about, dude, do you even understand the amount of turbulence sound that's going for a duck? You know what I mean?
I can't even. You just think about the sound of trees, you know, wishing in the wind, and you try to call through that. You know, it takes some doing. Yeah. But once you got them locked on to your spread, you know, the acrylic's great to get their attention. But if they're locked on, you know, I love to switch to that finisher, the wooden call. It seems to work out nicely.
You've heard this first on Zero Duck 30 podcast. The first time we have talked about a damn good pro tip when it comes to wooden calls. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
There
Hunter.
you go.
Thank you for.
And I will say, so this guy, there's a guy that makes some calls out of. He's out of Mississippi. I'm blanking on the exact location now. And I have zero affiliation with him. He's a great dude. He works with some of our competitors, but he just has a great call. He has a cut down call. It's called Parish Waterfowl Co. for any of you duck hunters out there. And he makes an unbelievable cut down call that you can scream at him And it's one of the very few acrylics that I've ever seen that you can talk so soft to them at the same time.
Nice.
I mean, for whatever, however he designs them, I've heard him explain it to other people. But Parrish Waterfowl, he's got an unbelievable acrylic call that works for. You can get as loud as you want, but you can get as soft as you need to at the same time.
Here it is. And this is something else that this just came to my mind, and I love this podcast for this reason. Bro, listen, I went shopping. This is going to freak you guys out. I went shopping for an air rifle, all right? A couple years back. I'm going to throw a loop here. I wanted the baddest ass air rifle that I could afford in value, right? Drew and I, our buddy, I said, you do your own research. I'm going to do my own research. At the end of this week, let's talk about it. At the end of that week, both of us were so stressed out about the stupid ass product reviews that are money advertised.
Yeah.
That you can't learn anything, bro. It made me so mad. I'm like, what about me? I want to learn. What is the best, and it's this brand, it's this brand, it's this brand, because the money, and I get it. You got to push your brands and all that
Everything's
stuff.
sponsored.
Yeah,
it's
dude.
hard to figure it out.
But it drove me nuts. And that's what I love about you just giving a shout out to these folks, is just basically saying, hey, look, man, I'm a user, and this is a great call. So great point. Thank you.
I mean, legit. I mean, he works with Shin, which is some of our direct competitors on the top of the line market.
Yep.
But I will say, I mean, he's got a heck of a call. I've watched him work with guides and outfitters and say, hey, just blow my call and tell me if you're not going to buy it after you blow it. And they get out there and they start working it, and they just, take a step back, stare at it, blow it again, and go, gosh dang it. All right, I'll give you $180 for it.
That's awesome.
It's pretty impressive. But
Awesome
no,
stuff.
it's a heck of a call.
All right, man. So drop it on us. Give us your best story. I want to hear your best hunting story, whether it's waterfowl related or not. What just comes to your mind?
Yeah, so funny. I'm gonna not too far ago. I'm gonna take you to the last day of Texas duck season this year, and I was just talking to my buddy about it. We were reminiscing on it literally 2 hours ago about, man, hey, that was a core memory hunt for sure. And we were at the end of the season in Texas hunting this there's a little kind of seasonal creek that runs parallel to this kind of drainage pond that holds a lot of birds. It's about 20 plus acres, so it's a little bit bigger than the pond. It's a lake. But it's got some flooded timber elements to it. It doesn't get too deep. It's just kind of like, if you can drop a perfect, waterfowl hole, like this is the spot, right? And so we're literally the last day of the season on like a Tuesday or something. And, in Texas, we always know, hey man, last day of the season, half the time I struggle even getting out of bed for it, because I'm like, man, I'm going to run out there and there's going to be no birds. I'm going to shoot a freaking shoveler or some sort of trash duck, 2 or 3 birds. And it's just not going to be worth it. It's like, why do I do this to myself? But, this year I was like, buddy called me. He's like, hey, we're going to the spot. Let's do it. I was like, okay, come on. So we get out there. It's a really cool, fun hunt where you kind of kayak out to your spot and you hide the kayaks in the brush, stand in some kind of like buck brush or whatever. And man, we knew, being in Texas, being in tune with the scouting report, we knew, hey, the mallards are gone. They're south of us. They're in Mexico. Big ducks are gone. Maybe there's some remnant teal. Maybe there's some remnant gray ducks. I don't know, but it's the last day of the season. We got to be out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we show up out there, and just 2 of us, me and my buddy. And let me tell you, we had a 2-man limit in about 2.5 hours killing singles and pairs just at like a 5 to 10 minute intervals, keeping you engaged, watching birds work. It was the most amazing, like just easiest hunt I've ever had in my entire life. It was just, this is so picturesque. I can't get over it. And we killed one species of duck the entire time. We killed all gadwall.
Wow.
And gadwall will make you feel like the best callers in the world. That's for sure.
Yeah, they do. Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
That's for sure. And so, so it gets down to it. We got our 10 birds. We need 2 more. And we're like, okay, we're going to pick out some drakes. I think we literally had, out of the 12 we killed, I think we had 9 drakes. It was a heck of a hunt.
Wow.
All gadwall. But these last 2, we see this pair of drakes coming in, and they're coming from right to left, winds blowing left to right. We're thinking they're going to set up perfectly in our decoys. We're like, heck yeah, perfect season ender, easy shot. Well, they have different ideas. They swoop down, come near our decoys, and they get the heck out of there, and they start flying about 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards away over to the left of us. And so we just, jump on the calls, bap, 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 give them a couple rings, and it keeps them off the water, and they start flying directly away from us, like 12 o'clock away from us. And so we're like, oh, shoot, maybe they're going to do a circle pass, come back around. Well, they start getting down about 100, 200 yards away from us. And so we jump on the calls again, bap, 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 bap. And we get them off the water. They start swinging back around. They're coming right at us. And at this point, it's dead to rights. We've got time to say, okay, you take left, I take right. One shot, like let's just end the season on a clean kill. Like, let's do it. And so, there's plenty of time. And so they're flying, dead on, left, right. And all of a sudden, right as they're about to hit the decoys, I mean, they must have just watched Top Gun, Maverick or whatever, because the left bird just does a hard nose dive right, and then the right bird does a hard left cross straight up in the air like they're doing like the split.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, Viper's on us! Let's
Yes.
scram!
Oh my God.
It's
just
aircraft
total
fire!
opposites. Yes. And so we are spinning around, shooting over our heads, bam, 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 and both the birds just land belly up in our decoys, and we just look at each other like, no freaking way that's how we ended the season. That was freaking awesome. We're high-fiving. No one saw it but us, but we're like, dude, that was so fun.
That's awesome, dude. That's so awesome, man. Have we all been there? Do you think that you know what they're going to do, and at that last moment, I mean, isn't that what they how they keep us going, really?
Yeah.
I mean, they really do.
Yep.
What a great story.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, that was a blast. And that was the last day of the 2022-23 season. And I was like, man, we both looked at each other and I was like, dude, locked in, core memory. That's never going away. I'm never going to forget that shot right there. That was so fun.
That's awesome, man.
Love that,
Priceless moments. Well, jumping back into the business side of things, where are you guys going to be? Where can people come and say, hey, dude, before I buy a pair of these, I want to go to a show in my local area, put these on, see what's going on at the show. Where can we find you at?
Yeah. So July 28th through 30th, we'll be in Little Rock, Arkansas at the Delta Waterfowl Expo. If you're a waterfowler, if you're big into duck hunting, there is no better show to go to than the Delta Waterfowl Expo. I've been to a bunch of them. Man, this one is just, it's unreal. They do a fantastic job of getting, the people that out there, from, Dr. Duck to Phil Robertson to Justin Martin, Rusty Creasy, whoever you name it. They're all out there giving, they'll give you some, that they have, stages where people talk about duck hunting, strategies, all sorts of stuff. It's awesome. Jonathan Bradshaw from the vet clinic, he runs dogs. He's awesome. He'll give a speech and spiel. I mean, it's a really, really great event for
You can bring your
waterfowlers.
dog for the annual dog parade, which is
Yeah.
awesome, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's so cool. They have like a flat bottom boat parade as well on the, what is it? Is it the Arkansas River or the White River or whatever?
Yeah.
Right, it goes right in front of the convention center. It's a really good show to go to. So we'll be at that one. We'll be right behind the Real Tree exhibit at the center back of the expo. So you walk down the hallway, we'll be right at the back. So you'll see us right as you walk in.
Is there a booth number or anything people should look for?
Man, I don't know the booth number. I think it's 19 and 20 is our booth number.
Okay, all right.
So we'll have a 20-foot spot. You can come try them on. We'll have all the sizes available. You can check out some of our merch and stuff. So that's a great show.
And we get to
And then
check
the
them out
following-
in camo this year, right?
Oh yeah, you'll see the camo patterns. Yeah, we're releasing the Oak King camo pattern, self-developed. We're really excited about that. I think it's going to be a super solid pattern for everyone.
That's an in-house design?
Yeah, that's our own.
That's
our
sick,
own
dude.
self-developed
That's
camo.
awesome.
Yeah, that is sick because I checked it out and I was like, all right, where'd they pull this one out of? And to know that you guys, again, in-house, awesome. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no. The camo pattern took us a while to figure out, but we wanted something that was super versatile that could hunt from pit blind to green timber to sea duck hunting, whatever you're hunting, you can use the Oak King camo. But so we'll be in Little Rock, July 28th through 30th. There's another show in Nashville, August 4th through 6th, called Open Season. It's a great, it's first time event in Nashville. They have the Open Season outdoor shows all over the country. It's a really great series. It'll be their first foray into kind of the southern market. I think it'll be a really great opportunity. Same thing. We'll have our full show set up. Come try them on, meet us, talk to us, ask us questions, all that good stuff. And then we will be at the Easton, Maryland Festival in November.
Nice.
Which is out on the East Coast. Obviously, in Maryland, they have a waterfowl festival that is really cool. Very, very old world. They got a bunch of artists, decoy carvers. It's a really neat spot if you're a waterfowl enthusiast. Worth the trip. Beautiful little town. A lot of fun. So we'll be out there as well. Then we'll be at the Wings Over Prairie in Stuttgart, Arkansas, in the middle of November for the World Duck Calling competition, and maybe a couple other shows interspersed in there as well. We might do a couple of pop-up shops here and there. But and also we'll be at the G&H Decoy Waterfowl Festival in Oklahoma. We'll be at that one. That's in October. So
Awesome.
there's a handful of opportunities to come check them out, try them on before the season gets going, if you guys are interested. And then even after the season, there's going to be some other opportunities to kind of take a look at the product and, see how it fits you, how you like it, and all that good stuff. But we'll be a staple at shows moving forward. Our 2024 schedule is going to be jam packed. Starting in January, we'll be all over the country. So if there's a hunt expo in your area, we'll likely be at it. So excited to mingle and meet you guys in person for sure.
Well, yeah, and this brings up a good point too, because you guys are so hunter driven. Is that, man, if there's a show in your area that has got a big turnout, dude, reach out to these guys and just and let them know that, hey, man, dude, there's thousands of people come to this show or whatever it is in my local town or something like that, man. And I think that we've all agreed, if you listen to this podcast now, I think they're going to listen.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so user driven. It's crazy. Now you guys are on at Canvasback Waterfowl on Instagram. Where can where can somebody go buy a pair of waders today? Like, hey, I want to go buy these things right now.
It's literally just canvasbackwaterfowl.com.
Awesome.
Same thing as our Instagram handle. We have links in our profile, everything. You can go click on there. You can get 10% off for signing up for our email list. All that good stuff. Canvasbackwaterfowl.com. We're working on expanding our YouTube page, and we just signed up for a Twitter page today, and then all that fun, Instagram threads or whatever. We're on that as well. So that might take us a while to figure it out, but we're going to be there. So,
but dude, you give your email and you save $100, right? I mean, basically.
Yep.
I mean, dude,
save $100, 10% off. It's pretty solid.
That's a pretty damn solid thing for just taking a second to give your email, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Especially when you're going to be scammed by a bunch of people anyway. Why not get emails from somebody you want to hear from?
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. And we're working on coming up with as we're developing this brand, and we understand hey, we're growing with you guys at the same time. We're learning about the industry, and we want to give to you the stuff that you guys want. And so we're developing all sorts of stuff on our email list, from waterfowl recipes, calling techniques, off-season dog training tips, all that good stuff, and working with some really cool people that are have decades and decades worth of knowledge. And, that's the kind of stuff that you get when you sign up, and not to mention some product updates. You'll be the first to know that, hey, we're dropping our new jacket or shell vest or base layer or whatever. All that good stuff is all on the website.
That's awesome, man. Hunter, dude, I've been humbled. I've learned a lot. I've had a ton of fun. And I'm just being selfish with my fun right now. But bro, you are a real guy, a real duck hunter. Even though you're an attorney, I won't.
Yeah,
you're not practicing. Former attorney. All right, I won't hold it against you, bro. But if you're a duck hunter, you've done something stupid, and you're hunting with Hunter, then you might have a little bit of an advantage. I don't know.
That's right. That's right.
But he might know the system a little bit better than you. But man, thank you so much. I mean, we dearly appreciate your time, and I know you're very busy, and you've been such just a great guest. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean,
well, thank you.
Thank you very much. We've really enjoyed it. It's been awesome.
Yeah, man.
Heck yeah.
You guys all check out Canvasback Waterfowl, because if not, you might be sinking in the mud. Thank you so much, Hunter.
All righty, man. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
We'll talk soon.
I've been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I'll slow down, standing in the pouring rain.